one part of what we spoke about, the fact that 10 years back, the standard activity for a large number of students was to do an engineering degree and then just do an MBA, and eventually move from mechanical engineering to commenting on which stock to buy or deciding on somebody's investment portfolio having done an MBA in finance. Is that the right way to do things as things stand right now? And Anant Chajjar, who is a founder of MBA Circle and education content creator, joining me right now. Anand, thanks so much for taking the time. And it's all about education on this particular episode of Your Money Matters. I want to talk to you about this. First, in your opinion, who needs an MBA and who doesn't?
Okay, thank you for having me, first of all. And I'll start with who doesn't need an MBA because that will answer most of the questions for you. Anyone who is already working in a high growth startup, has a steep learning curve in their respective job, or someone who is already building something, sees a great potential there, or someone coming from a great undergraduate background and working in a job that they love doing and sees growth there. Obviously, it's not necessary for them to go for an MBA degree. However, for everyone else who feels that their growth is stagnating in their job, who does not like the job that they're currently in, wants to switch their domain to any other field. For example, if you want to switch to, say, finance, marketing, or specifically any field that you want to be in, if you want to switch domains and you want to switch to a career which provides high growth potential, it will be a good option to go for an MBA program.
Okay. So you've answered my question very well. Let's talk about how much this costs, though. It was expensive even 10 years back. But when we speak about education inflation, perhaps at the higher end of the spectrum is what MBA colleges have experienced. So can you give us a sense of how the costs have changed over the last decade?
So definitely, and if you see the education inflation in India, it has really been higher if you compare it to, say, consumer price inflation. It has tendency of being around 11-12% education inflation to be specific, whereas consumer price inflation has been much lesser than that. And similarly for MBA and costs, that has been a debated topic definitely. But if I take Ahmedabad as the benchmark, around 2005, it was around 3 lakhs, the fees, and currently it is at 26-27 lakhs. So 11-12% increase year on year. But if you see the last decade, that is 2015 to 2025, the fees in 2015 was already at 18.5 lakh to now, which is 26-27 lakh. So it has been in line with inflation. And there's all the reason to believe that in future as well, the MBA costs will be increasing as per the inflation numbers only. It will be in line with inflation. And there are a couple of reasons for that. Some innovative business models, there are hybrid courses that these institutions are introducing. So the restriction of having limited resources, limited space crunch in terms of campus infrastructure, limited faculty to teach only a specific class, that has been going by introducing some hybrid online courses. And there's all the reason to believe that now MBA fees will keep rising, but it will be in line with inflation.
Okay. The options are considerably more than they were even a decade back, Anant. And really, it depends on where you stack up in the entrance examinations that so many thousands of people do every year. But the question is, once you get in, what kind of specializations should you consider? Because in the previous conversation, to give you a little bit of context, and you mentioned that as well, there are hybrid courses that are currently available that might just be better for you than a plain vanilla, finance or marketing or human resources.
Okay, so whenever you talk about hybrid courses or any campus course as well, what differentiates a candidate is also the filtering mechanism through which you can get into an institution. So if a particular college or a particular degree is difficult to get into, that kind of indicates the recruiter that yes, this candidate is worth hiring. So definitely the filtering mechanism, how difficult it is to get into a program is a thing that you should consider. And in terms of specializations, I believe what you can take is any specialization that you would love doing 20, 30 years down the line. MBA specifically introduces you to any specialization that you want to, whether it be finance, marketing, HR, operations, anything that you want to. And what that means is you can do any of these specializations, but on top of that, if you can add with certain professional degrees, for example, you do a CACFA degree, and along with that, you do MBA in finance, then it's a great combination to have to pursue a career, say, in front end investment banking. At the same time, if you do some marketing certifications along with MBA in marketing, then that adds a lot of functional skills, because MBA teaches you a little about everything, a little about finance, a little about marketing, a little about HR. So you get a holistic business knowledge. On top of that, if you can add it with very specific functional skills by doing very specific professional courses or certifications, it's a great combination to have in today's world.
Let's come to the brass tacks then, Anant. As things stand right now, I'm sure you do a lot of research on this as well in the advice that you dispense. What, according to you, are the top colleges to opt for in the MBA space right now, and why?
So, as I was saying, it depends on the filtering mechanism. The difficult it is to get into a college, the better it would be. So, the usual suspects are there. That is your IIMs, that is IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. There's ISB, FMS. If I talk about some non-IIMs, then ISB, FMS, XLRI, SPJ, and MDI. These are some of the top colleges again. And along with that, IIM Lucknow, IIM Indore, IIM Kozhikode. These are some of the other colleges. So these are kind of make up the top 10, 15 colleges in India.
Okay. The question for you then is, because as you've mentioned, it's hard to get into these colleges in a select few, and you're talking about starting salaries that go into the multiples of 40, 50, 60, 70 lakh, even beyond that, right? So the question for you is, if you aren't able to get in, and if you get into a tier 2 institute, is it better for you to not take that up, to go get actual experience on the ground, and then maybe down the line do a professional course?
So where it matters is, what do you do with if you are not doing an MBA, what else you would be doing? For example, it might, yes, from a tier 2 institution, your starting package might be at a 15, 20 LPA. You might start at that kind of a package from a tier 2 institution. But the thing is that a program like MBA, what it does is it opens a great growth option. So the roles that you join, they will have great future potential as well. So if you start from a 15, 20 LPA job, you can grow in future years as well. So it completely depends on what you would be doing without an MBA program. But even if you are from a tier 2 institution, the information asymmetry, I would say today, is a lot lesser. What I mean by that is there are a lot of job portals, for example, LinkedIn. So if you have the right skills, you can approach the right recruiters in the right company, you can reach out to them. You don't need to be specifically part of a specific alumni community these days to reach out to the right people. So in that way, definitely, even from a tier 2 institution, if you have the right skills, you can make up for that. But yes, the caveat here is having the right skills. And on top of the MBA program, either you develop it through online courses, through some certifications, and communication, as well as your critical thinking, are two very critical skills that any MBA student would need. So if you can develop that, there are enough opportunities to reach out to the right people outside of your alumni community and outside of your college as well.
Yeah, so have a good LinkedIn game is part of the advice that Anant has for you. Anant, just to close this out, you mentioned a few of these courses or skill sets that you would build over onto whatever you gain through an MBA. Do you have a list of 5 maybe go-to courses or skills that you would recommend?
So, 2 things that any MBA student would need. First is definitely first principle thinking and critical thinking. And what that does is how you approach certain case studies. Solving case studies is a major part of your MBA program. So how you solve those case studies through your first principle approach, problem solving, breaking the problems into its simplest components, and then finding the solution. That's a very important skill for any MBA candidate. Next is communication, stakeholder management. These are very important. And on top of that, then it depends on the specific specialization that you are doing. For example, if you are inclined towards finance, then you need to have valuation, financial statement, financial reporting kind of skills. If you are inclined towards marketing, then you need to have certain specific courses, skill sets like brand management and marketing fundamentals. Digital marketing these days also have become very important. So it depends on the specific specialization that you're pursuing after that. But the first 3 that I mentioned, problem solving, communication, stakeholder management, every MBA candidate needs to develop this first.
And of course, you have to crack the CAT or whatever entrance exam you have to go through to get to those top colleges first. So all the best if you're watching and you're planning to do that. Anand, thanks so much for taking the time. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that brings us to the end of this edition of Your Money Matters. Let us know what you think. We've deviated from the regular script this time around. If you've got something that you'd like to hear about on this program, write to us in the comments and we'll take it up. Thanks so much for watching. This is NDTV Profit.